Example 1, we have two angles involved in this triangle, and that means we're going to use the sine rule. That's my general tip. If you have a question that involves two angles, it's quite likely you're going to use the sine rule because the sine rule links together two or more angles. Now, when you're using the sine rule or the cosine rule, you want to label your triangle first. I always label the thing I want to find as either little a if it's a side or big A if it's an angle. And when we're labeling, the opposite side to the opposite angle must match. So if that side's little a, then the opposite angle must be big A. Similarly, I would call this side little b, and therefore that angle would be big B. We're now ready to use the sine rule. So it says a over sine A equals b over sine B. In this case, we don't have any information about the c's, so we don't need to include it. And then you just pop in the information. So x over sine 38 equals 13 over sine 100. You then rearrange this to find x. So I would just times up by sine 38. Pop in the calculator, you get 8.1 to 1 decimal place, and that's it. Something to note here about the sine rule is that you can actually use the rule flipped upside down. So you can use it as sine A over A equals sine B over B equals sine C over C. It still works that way around as well. You might want to use it in that format if you're actually finding a missing angle. It can be easier to manipulate the algebra if that's the case. Example 2, this time there's only one angle involved, so it's likely we're going to use the cosine rule. The reason is, if you look at the cosine rule, it's all in terms of little a, b, and c, which are the side lengths, and then it only references one angle, big A. So with that in mind, I'm going to label the x, which is the angle we want to find, as big A, and therefore the 20 has to be little a because it's opposite. The other two you can label in either order, B or C, and then you're ready to sub in carefully. So a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos A. Some people might like to write everything down at this point. So 20 squared equals 15 squared plus 16 squared minus 2 times 15 times 16 times cos A. I think that's a good idea. I'm going to do an intermediate step here that I wouldn't always do. I would say it depends how confident you are, but the intermediate step could be to calculate each individual part. So 20 squared is 400. This part you can combine, so 15 squared plus 16 squared, you can do that in your calculator together to get 481. And then just be really careful. This is all actually one term, all stuck together because they're all times together there. So that works out to be 480 cos x. I just replaced the a with x there. Now remember, we're trying to find out what x is, so we need to rearrange this in order to find it. So you could say 480 cos x is equal to 81 if you rearrange that, which means cos x equals 81 divided by 480, which means x is cos to the minus 1, or inverse cos or shift cos, 81 over 480, which gives you 80.3 to 3 significant figures. Now, it's worth noting that I used the cosine rule as it comes. By that, I mean I just used the a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos A version. However, you can rearrange it if you want to. The rearranged version of it, which has cos A as the subject, looks like this. It's totally up to you if you want to memorize that as well, or maybe memorize how to rearrange it and then use it in that way. Completely up to you. Last example, area of a triangle. So the question wants us to work out the area of this triangle. So we know we want to use this third formula here. Now, hopefully you can see that this one's a little bit different in the sense that it specifically references sine C. So whereas before I would label the side or the angle that I wanted to find as A, if I'm doing area, then whatever angle I have, that's going to be capital C, so that it can go straight into the formula, which means the opposite side is little c and the other two are A and B in whatever order you like. And then it's just a case of subbing those values into the formula. So half times 5 times 8 times sine 41. Altogether is 13.1 to 3 significant figures. That's it for now. If you found this video useful, please do remember to like, comment and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And do share this with anyone else you think might find it helpful. Thanks, and see you next time.